Assalamu alaikum, welcome back to another video, and today it's going to be about Real Madrid and Espanyol, the match that is coming up the next day, or I'm recording this 2 days before. It's going to be this Saturday, September 20th. Now look, you might have a couple questions now. If you guys noticed by now, whoever is a returning viewer, welcome back. And if you are new, hi, I am Real Roots or Ayman. Now look, I'm a Real Madrid fan. It's pretty obvious. All my videos about Real Madrid. Real Madrid fan. I love Ronaldo. Now you're wondering why I'm wearing a Man City jersey, okay? This is a Holland jersey, and I'm a fan of Holland. And the Man City, I don't really mind them. They're like, as of right now, in the Champions League, the biggest rival for Real Madrid. But for me, I don't see rivalry like that I have to hate the other team. I don't hate the team. Do I want them to lose whenever they go up against us? Obviously. But I don't hate them. I'm a fan of Holland and a couple of players from Man City. So that's number one. And number two, why am I wearing this to this video? Well, I just watched Man City versus Napoli and Man City won. Holland scored. So why not just represent Holland for this video? All right. Now let's get straight into the breakdown. So Real Madrid versus Espanyol is taking place this Saturday, and it is going to take place in the Bernabeu. Now look, we have home field advantage. All right, we have home field advantage. We have the fans backing us up. However, that is not a big factor when it comes to Real Madrid, especially last season and especially this season so far. Now against Marseille and against other teams last season, really the Bernabeu hasn't really played in favor of Real Madrid. Now there are a couple of reasons why. There were moments where our own fans were whistling our own players, which I don't get it. And there are moments where the team or the crowd just goes silent whenever Real Madrid needs motivation, right? And the Bernabeu is just quiet, dead silent, unless somebody scores, the energy's back up. But other than that, we need the Bernabeu to be loud. No matter what, it has to be loud. Whether we're down and whether we're up, we always have to keep that constant energy. And what I mean by we is I'm basically imagining myself in the Bernabeu. So don't say that, who's we, who's this, who's that. We, including myself, all right? Now, for Espanyol, right, they lost, their best player last season was Juan Garcia, and he's gone now. So if you guys don't remember from last season, he's been a huge wall, a brick wall for Espanyol, and even against Real Madrid last season. He was saving brilliant shots from Vini, from Mbappé. So, Juan Garcia, I'm glad that he's no longer in Espanyol, but it's a problem that he is with Barcelona, our biggest rival. So, yeah, I'm really happy that Juan Garcia is not there because now we have Mbappé, we have Vini, Rodrigo, whoever it may be, shooting is not going to face that brilliant goalkeeper. So that is one advantage that we are going to have heading into this game. A disadvantage that we have Dean Huijsen on a red card. We can't forget. Our right back, we got Trent missing, so we only have to rely on Carvajal, and if not, most likely he's going to sub in Asensio. So this game is filled with a lot of questions, and rightfully so, right? Because heading into this game, I'm not really that confident. Do I believe in my team? I do. But am I confident? Not that much, because we have a lot of questions. For example, is Jude Bellingham going to play, right? I believe he was supposed to play against Marseille, and then we saw how that went, so he didn't even step on the pitch. We saw how it went with Carvajal, so we had Asensio step up. It was a huge mess, and I really hope that Xabi Alonso the past 3 days has been having these conversations with the Real Madrid players because they need it. They need to lock in every aspect of the pitch, defending, attacking, controlling. Pressing is, I would say, the only good thing that Real Madrid has been doing, which is something they lacked last season, which is ironic, right? Because now that they're doing good pressing, they kind of slowed down some of these areas. Now, I'm not saying for all the matches, but specifically I'm talking about our recent performance against Marseille. Now, look, the reason why I have faith in Real Madrid, number one, we got Mbappé, who's been in form, who's been getting us our goals, our assists. I believe he has already gotten like 3 men of the matches with Real Madrid so far this season. So he's been killing it, honestly. If not, maybe more. I don't have the man of the match awards in my head, but I've been seeing Mbappé getting them frequently. We have Vinícius Jr. I believe he's going to start this game because Rodrigo started last game. And like Xabi Alonso said, all the players are going to get rotated, or no player is guaranteed a spot in the starting 11. Now look, we have Tchouaméni, who's been really good for us. Tchouaméni is one of the best players so far in Real Madrid. We have Fede Valverde and to be honest, I saw the streamer. I'm gonna give him a shout out, not a streamer, a YouTuber. And the stream, Dave. He's not really like the huge YouTuber, but I love watching his content. He's really honest with Real Madrid, and I love honesty. And to be honest, he did open my eyes to this, which I was kind of a little blind to it. So he said that Fede Valverde has not been the same under Xabi Alonso, and that is true. Whether you like it or not, Fede Valverde is the best off the ball so far. I'm talking about this season. But then you look at him on the ball, it's not the same as the Valverde that we knew from last season or the season before that. So there are questions about that, but it is not obvious. The media is not questioning it, right? Because he is still doing his other part, which is off the ball, moves off the ball, defending, and is just on the ball. It's just something is off about it. I don't know what it is. I don't know if he's maybe more of a supportive, right? Because he is still making his runs and everything, but he is just not the main man in the midfield anymore, and it's kind of most likely Arda Güler, the only man in the midfield. We only have Valverde and Tchouaméni, who wants to switch the ball to one side from another. So that is one question that I have about a player, which is Valverde. Another thing I wanted to mention is also with Rodrigo. As we know, he's not a constant starter for Real Madrid, but so far not even Vini is a constant starter for Real Madrid. So that does show that Xabi Alonso is true to his words, right? Where not every player is guaranteed a starting position. So, real quick, I wanted to go to the playing style that Xabi Alonso does usually play, which is pressing high, right? And I don't know what it is, but I believe that he loves doing these short passes, these runs, and over-the-top passes. But the thing is that I don't see that with Real Madrid, which is weird because if you look at Xabi Alonso's character, you know that he is for only business and business only. So the fact that there is not that much going on and you see him frustrated even on the sidelines makes me also question, like, what is really going on? Like, is he being ignored intentionally, or is this a new tactic that he's trying to go for? What is it? I'm not really sure, but we do see the fullbacks pushing up a lot, which is one of his main things in Leverkusen. We do see that Xabi Alonso is telling his team to press, which is really good, and I think that is really effective because we've got some of our goals through pressing, which is really impressive for the team to get it down in a couple of games. So I'm really happy about that, and I think that is going to be key to win and to win the ball back against Espanyol. Another thing that Real Madrid should focus on, and this is something very huge, and we know that Real Madrid lacks in this, is to stay compact, right? If you guys don't know what I mean by compact, just stay close to one another, shift as a team. And if there's somebody leaving their position, we need communication for somebody to come back in that position. Like a great example is against Marseille, where Dean Huijsen, he loves to press up, right? And I'm not saying he's bad, and that's good for Dean Huijsen to push up because he does win the ball most of the time. But then there are moments where we lose the ball, like how we conceded the first goal against Marseille. So if somebody is going to be pressing up from defending, I'm talking about even from midfield, somebody should be there to kind of replace that defender or that midfielder for not just safety reasons to get countered, but also for to support the team in that space that's missing. So, for example, if Arda Güler, not even, let's say Tchouaméni is leaving his position, right, where he plays deep, right? So he plays down there with the defenders. If he's leaving his position, right, the closest person to him is Valverde. If not, it's probably Arda. Somebody has to switch with Tchouaméni. Militao, we saw last game against Marseille where he pushed up all the way to the box, and I saw that nobody replaced him, and we almost got countered. It was almost a counter, but it wasn't a counter. So, if I remember correctly, my mind is a little blank. But that is something that the team has to do. They have to play compact because then it's easier to replace a player who is not in their position. And we see that a lot with top teams. One of the main examples is I was just watching the Barca game and the Napoli game. They didn't play against each other, but Napoli, Man City versus Barca and Newcastle. And Barca does that very well. They do that very well. And I don't know what Flick got these guys on, but he makes sure that these guys follow his rules and his tactics. So Xabi Alonso gotta, I'm not saying do the same, but there's got to be some type of way to play in this order. I also put down here in my notes that the key focus is going to be obviously Mbappé. We cannot have him lose his form, and pressing, and also being compact when defending. Because if all those click together, like I said, this team is unstoppable, whether defending or attacking. Now, I wrote down about Espanyol, so I don't really watch Espanyol as much, but they are at 10 points, right? They're number 3 on the league so far. They have the same wins as Barcelona in La Liga. So Espanyol is not an easy team as of right now because they look like they are in form. And yeah, I think that Real Madrid shouldn't take them lightly. I don't think that Bellingham should start, by the way, because I believe that he is still going to be on the bench if he was on the bench against Marseille. So I think that, yeah, Bellingham should be on the bench. However, I think that he should come on once the team is comfortable and confident that they have the lead or they definitely won the game. I believe that Bellingham was supposed to, sub on against Marseille, but as we saw, we only survived that game through 2 penalties. And I looked into our last season's game against Espanyol, and yeah, we had Carlos Romero who scored the winner against us, and he's still playing for that team. So we have to be careful. And we had Juan Garcia saving 7 shots. I believe those 7 shots were on target as well, if I remember correctly. So we have to be very careful because these players that we played against last season, most of them are still on the team. They could still score against us. They could still defend against us. But with this new tactic that Xabi Alonso got cooking up, I have a little confidence that this team might edge out and come out with a win. Now, there's a couple of things that Real Madrid are coming into this with a couple of questions and doubts, right? So we have Trent Alexander-Arnold who's injured, and now it came out to 6 to 8 weeks, which is really a long time. We have our backup center back who could also be a starter, Rudiger, who is out for about 3 months. We also have Mendy who's out, but in the left back position, I believe we're good. We have Dean Huijsen as well, who is suspended. Now, I could make a whole video about this, about how sketchy this whole thing is, right? If I don't know if you guys see the comments and everything, not in my videos, I barely get any, to be fair. But I'm speaking about the comments, the huge media outlets that are just trying to get clicks and everything, trying to exaggerate everything that happens in Real Madrid games. Anything could happen. Whether somebody touches another player with a pinky, there's going to be 17 posts about it on Instagram. Stop it. All right? Yeah, it gets you clicks. It does. But stop it. It happens to other clubs. Stop it. It's because Real Madrid is in the name. Stop it. I'm so confused. Why? I'm not even confused. I don't even know what to say. It makes sense why you're doing it, but at the same time, it's bad because then you have these other guys jumping on the bandwagon of Real Madrid, referees, whatever, this and that. Yet we have Dean Huijsen, who the Spanish Committee of Referees admitted that it was a mistake. They admitted themselves that it was a mistake, that they didn't get VAR intervene. We saw all the influencers, we saw the media, we saw everybody saying that's not a red card. Yet they continued to suspend Dean Huijsen another match. Now we're going to miss Dean Huijsen, who's been our main center back this game against Espanyol. And nobody wants to say anything, right? Because it's Real Madrid. But as soon as a decision favors Real Madrid, everybody wants to hop on that bandwagon. That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say. And I'll leave it up to you. But you guys got to open your eyes. I get it. If we're rivals, I get it. But open your eyes, because if this happened to you, you would not be happy. That's number one. And number two, you would probably even believe that yourself. So you gotta, be careful with all these media and all this outlet and everything. With Real Madrid also boycotting the Ballon d'Or, people want to hop on that, this is, that. But you guys got to understand that these journalists are the ones voting who wins the Ballon d'Or. And don't be surprised if Lamine Yamal beats Rafinha and Dembele to win the Ballon d'Or. That's all I'm saying. You guys have to read about the backstory, the behind the scenes, what's going on behind the scenes, because it's crazy, it's wild. So anyways, we're missing Huijsen, we're missing Endrick, Bellingham, Camavinga. They are back. I believe they resumed training, and we saw Bellingham on the bench, we saw Camavinga on the bench, so they might get some playing time in this game if Real Madrid are good to go and ready or already 100% sealed the deal with Espanyol. So yeah, my starting 11. Now, I have Carvajal, Militao. Now, the center back, I don't know if Xabi Alonso is going to start one of the academy players, which I doubt. I believe he is going to start Asensio at center back. But then that leaves a question for the right back, and I believe that's going to be Valverde switching to the right back position. But yeah, we have Militao, Asensio, we have Carvajal on the right, Carreras on the left. We have our 2 holding midfielders, Valverde, Tchouaméni, we have our number 10, who is going to be Arda. We have, I believe Vinicius Jr. is going to start on the left. And most likely Franco's going to start on the right. Unless Xabi Alonso wants to surprise us and put Rodrigo on the right. I won't complain. I would love to try it out now. And we have Mbappé as a striker. So that is my lineup. And let me know what you guys think. Do you guys think this is, predict what do you think is going to happen in this game? Let me know what you guys think about the whole referee scandal. Let me know what you think about Dean Huijsen's red card. Let me know, if Asensio is going to be back into form. Let me know just your take on this game that's going to take place this Saturday. And if you are new, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you like. Make sure you also comment. That would help me a lot. And make sure that you are subscribed if you want new content. Now, I'm just repeating myself. And until then, Assalamu alaikum.